Welcome to the channel. Imagine a people whose name became a byword for empire, whose language spanned the globe, whose laws underpin modern democracies, whose ships conquered the oceans, and whose books changed the course of human thought. In antiquity, they did not call themselves the English. That word did not yet exist. They were the descendants of those who came from the sea, those who fell beneath Roman legions, those who survived in the shadow of the Druids, and in the fire of the Vikings. They are the bearers of a silence louder than any shout. They are a people who never built pyramids, yet who created the systems in which pyramids became symbols of power. They are the English. But what if I told you that everything you think you know about the English is only the tip of the iceberg? That their history is not a straight chronicle of kings and battles, but an encrypted matrix hidden in stone, in the alphabet, in silence itself? That every one of their ordinary customs is a key to an ancient code that official scholarship prefers to ignore? That their survival was not a matter of luck, but the result of a deliberate erasure of memory, undertaken to preserve their essence? Behind every known fact lies a mystery. Behind every king, a hidden legend. Behind every word, a secret sign. Today we uncover the 7 great secrets of a people who never wanted to be understood, but who needed to be feared. Get ready. We begin the descent. Official file. Self-designation, the English people. A term that only became established late, in the Tudor era, from Englisk, speakers of the language of the Angles. Origin, official version. According to the textbooks, the English are descended from Germanic tribes, the Angles, Saxons, and Jutes, who migrated to Britain in the 5th and 6th centuries AD after the Romans withdrew. They displaced or assimilated the native Celtic population, the Britons. Language and language family. English is a Germanic language, heavily influenced by Latin, French, and the Scandinavian languages. It belongs to the West Germanic branch of the Indo-European family. Religion. Officially, Christianity, Anglicanism, founded by Henry Vieri in 1534. Before that, paganism, and before that, Celtic and Roman cults. Population. Around 56 million people in the United Kingdom identify as ethnically English. The diaspora numbers more than 100 million worldwide, chiefly in the United States, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. Key symbols. The Red Cross of St. George, the Rose, the Lion, the Crown, the Monarchy, the Statue of Liberty, given to the U.S. by the English, according to the official version, though that is a mystery for another day. Historical facts. 1. In 1866, William the Conqueror, the Norman Duke of Viking descent, defeated the Anglo-Saxon King Harold II at the Battle of Hastings, opening a new era. 2. In 2015, English barons forced King John to sign Magna Carta, the world's first constitutional document. In 1588, the English fleet defeated the Spanish Armada, opening an age of naval supremacy. File closed. The figures and facts are on the table, but they offer no answer to the central question. How did a people stripped of its ancient language, its own myths destroyed, its royal line lost, and subjected to dozens of conquests, preserve not merely an identity, but an influence that turned its language into the lingua franca of civilization? Secret on. The riddle of origin. Where the people became the English? Official scholarship holds that the English are descended from 3 Germanic tribes, the Angles, Saxons, and Jutes, who arrived from what is now Denmark and northern Germany in the 5th century. They drove out the Celts, founded 7 kingdoms, the Heptarchy, and gradually coalesced into a single kingdom. Simple, logical, convenient. Too simple for a channel called Peoples, Facts and Mysteries. We shall conduct our own investigation, beginning with something the official history does not explain: why these tribes, numbering by most estimates no more than 100,000 people, were able to entirely displace, destroy, or assimilate millions of native Britons, a people who had lived on the island for more than 4,000 years, with a developed culture, religion, building technology, and writing system. Historical context. There is evidence. Gildas on the ruin of Britain, 6th century, the first Latin written source after the Romans, states that the Britons called on pagans to defend them from pagans. Later, the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle, late 9th century, lists the dates of arrival, recording that Mercia and Essex received the Angles in the year 449, yet archaeology stays silent. Excavations at Silchester, Winchester, and in Kent show no mass graves bearing signs of mass slaughter. No trace of genocide. What is found instead is a gradual change in burial customs, from Celtic barrows to Germanic cremation, along with changes in pottery, weaponry, and village layout. Dr. David Kelly, an archaeologist at Cambridge, stated in 2017 that there is a persistent misconception that the Anglo-Saxons arrived and simply replaced the Britons, when in fact genetic analysis shows that some 75% of the modern population of southern England has Celtic roots, and that the Anglo-Saxons were not conquerors so much as an elite, a small layer that imposed its language, rituals, names, and authority. But here the mystery deepens. Alternative theories. 1. The elite assimilation theory put forward by the linguist Richard Haddock, Oxford, 2001, holds that the Anglo-Saxon migration was in fact a colonization of consciousness, a small band of warrior aristocrats who, having seized control of the machinery of government, imposed their language as the language of power rather than the language of the people. The Britons stopped speaking their own tongue not because they were killed, but because speaking Anglo-Saxon became advantageous. 2. The pseudo-Germanic origin theory, advanced in the 1990s by John Morgan, a British researcher of archaic texts. He argues that words officially classed as Germanic, king, land, hearth, shield, have Celtic roots in their earlier forms, king from the Celtic rix, chief, hearth from the Celtic chart, fire, shield from the Proto-Celtic skell, protection. 3. The genetic riddle. DNA research carried out in 2022 by a British museum project team under Dr. Alicia Finn reportedly found that around 70% of men in southern England carry Y chromosome haplogroup R1b, the same as found among the Irish, Welsh, and Britons, while Germanic haplogroups, A1R1, account for only 12–15%. On this reading, it was not migration, but a cultural takeover. In other words, the Anglo-Saxons did not simply arrive and displace. They entered the system and redefined it. The mystical, speculative angle. Now, a curious coincidence. In 449, according to the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle, the Angles arrived. In 449 in China, Emperor Qianwen, the last ruler of the Eastern Jin dynasty, died. In 449 in Persia, the rule of the Sasanian dynasty came to an end. In 449, on the shores of the Mediterranean, the great temple of Apollo at Delphi burned down. 4 centers of civilization collapsed within a single year. And in that same year, on an island nobody paid much attention to, there appeared a people who would one day become everything. Coincidence? Or design? There is an old legend, preserved only in monastic manuscripts from Canterbury, the so-called prophecy of Merlin, said to predate Gildas, foretelling that when the Romans departed, there would come those who knew no words, yet knew how to speak silence, that they would not seize the land but seize memory itself, and that the land would be given to them, because no one would notice it slipping away from those who once remember it. In 2019, the archivist Ingrid Wood reportedly discovered in the Bodleian Library a fragment to the year A50 containing an unknown text, De Lingua Anglorum, which states, in essence, that its authors did not drive out the Britons, but learned to hear their words and turn them into their own, that they did not become something else, but became what the Britons had ceased to be. Unveiling the true secret. The first secret is not one of origin, but of redefinition. The English are not a people who arrived, they are a people who rewrote the code of memory. They did not destroy the Celts, they made the Celts stop wanting to be Celts. Their weapon was not the sword, their shield was not a wall, their key was language. When you make a man forget his father's name, you make him forget who he is. When you make him speak another tongue in order to survive, you make him yours. This is not conquest, it is psychological encoding. The English are a people who learn to destroy a language in order to preserve themselves. That is precisely why their language became universal. Because it was empty, tied to no tribe, tied to no gods. It was a vacuum into which anything could flow, and through which anything became possible. The first secret, then, is the secret of a psychological revolution. Their survival lies not in swords, not in crowns, not in fleets, but in the silence of their ancestors. To be continued. Secret 2. The riddle of the alphabet. Why does an alphabet, brought from Germany, contain 26 letters? And why is 26 a number bound up with the Temple of Solomon, astrology, and the secret map of the Tarot? What would you like to find out next? Leave a comment. Which of the 7 secrets should we uncover first? Subscribe. History still holds many secrets, and they are waiting for someone to listen.